Hello friends, welcome to a fun spring cast on frogging sorting vlog. I'm Emily, if you're new here. If you haven't been here before, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I am participating in the tea knit along that is being hosted by Kirsty of Kirsty Knits and Sews. She hosted this last year before I even knew that Kirsty existed, and I found out about it like 6 or 8 months later. I was like, that's such a good idea for a knit along, and I love that. This year she is doing it again, which I'm very, very excited about. And so I have been winding up yarn and prepping and planning and figuring out the projects that I'm going to be doing for that knit along. So I thought that it would be fun to do a little bit of a cast on vlog, and then I also realized that since my last video where I talked about all of my whips and I was going back and forth on a couple of them, I have made some decisions regarding those, and I'm going to be frogging a couple of them, and so I thought that this could be sort of a spring cleaning of the knitting and prepping for spring, summer, late spring and summer knitting. So that's what this video is going to be about. We're just going to dive right in because my husband and the kids are here. They're outside in the yard, and so I have a fairly limited amount of time. So in my whips video, I mentioned a number of different whips that I was planning to frog, and I'm hoping to kind of sit here and go ahead and frog several of these so that they're just done and I can put the yarn back in my stash. That is the beautiful thing that I realized, is that all of these whips are pre-2026, and so they are before I started counting yarn in and out of my stash. So none of these have to be counted. The only one I don't know if I'm going to get to frogging it today is kind of a lesser priority. I did decide that I'm going to be frogging my Jovis duster cardigan. I pulled the sleeves off and I was just looking at it, and I realized that the reason why the sleeves were fitting funny was just this just doesn't fit me. It just doesn't. Let me see if I can stand up. It's probably going to look quite cute with this dress because it's like the blue and blue. But I realized, you see this armhole? This is so low down, and I have a considerably fuller bust than Devon, the designer of the pattern. And even if I get this sitting up in the right spot, there's just not enough room here. And I know it's supposed to be kind of off to the side. It's not supposed to close in the front and whatnot. I find that it just keeps wanting to slip off of my shoulders, and I just don't think that this is the right shape for my body. I think that that is what I've run into with this. I love the stitch pattern. I love the texture of it. I kind of wish I could turn it into a vest, and maybe I will look at it. Ooh. If I just add some ribbing around here, I could do some decreases and kind of pull all this in. Maybe I wouldn't have to completely frog it. Because I do really like it. I think it would be quite cute. Especially with like this dress. This is a dress I made a month or so ago. It would be really, really cute. Like, here, let me stand up here. Like, that would be very cute. So maybe that's what I'll do with this. Is I'll try and put some ribbing around the sleeves and just kind of pull everything in a little bit. And then I do still think that I want to put some little like white buttons. Also, sorry, my chair was an old free chair that we got from our church that they were getting rid of it, so it's quite squeaky. But if I put just some buttons from like there down and then ribbing around the armholes, I think this will work. Which I'm glad of, because the ends are all woven in, it's all pretty and nice and yada yada, and I'd rather not have to frog this part. The sleeves were easy enough, but not this part. Okay, so I think we've made a decision on that. But then I have this crochet blanket that I wanted to frog. I have, where'd my bag go? I am going to go ahead and frog the sundial tee that I had just barely started. It is kind of sad because I'm going to have a couple of tiny pieces, but that'll be fine. I'm going to frog that. I'm going to have a think. I would love to make a project with this whole advent calendar together. And so I need to have a think about what I want to do with that. I think it's probably going to be some sort of a simple sweater, stripey, something like that. I did have the thought that I could potentially use it in a Daft Days cardigan, which is another pattern by Rebecca of the Cray Bear. If I found some DK weight to use as the main color, I could use all of these held double, and I was calculating it up, and I think I have enough yardage. It's only a 12-day advent, so that is a strong contender. That's neither here nor there. Gotta frog that one. I do want to go ahead and frog this blanket, and then I'm gonna this is my oldest whip. This is like 8+ years old, so this is the oldest one I have. Pretty much everything I have is within a year or two old. I don't tend to do very many very long-term languishing whips, so this is the oldest one, and it's just been sitting there not being worked on. So I'm gonna frog that one, and then I decided that I am going to completely frog this. I'm going to take all of the brown yarn and keep the brown yarn, and I'm going to hold it double and make a really squishy, lovely vest. We'll talk about that another time, because that would take care of any issues with dye lots, because if I'm holding it double, you won't notice it as much, and it's not enormously noticeable in the first place, and so if I'm holding it double, it should become. And then I realized that what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take all these little inside granny squares and all the random scraps of that yarn, and I think I'm just going to donate that. I really just don't want to think about it, or it's yarn that's been kind of hanging about in my stash for a while, and I was sitting there thinking about it, and I was just thinking about how this project just makes me feel irked and kind of sad and annoyed, and I just don't want to look at the yarn again. So my plan is I'm going to take all of the brown yarn that I love, and I will make a beautiful cozy vest with it. And all the rest of it, and all the random little granny squares, I'm going to donate it, and somebody else can have a happy day at the thrift store. And that will be that. So, quite relieved on that front. And then, this is the other one that I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the more that I thought about it after I filmed the video where I talked about it, I was like, yeah, you know, I don't think I'm going to frog it. The more that I thought about it, the more that I felt this dread of ever working on this project, because I'm not kidding. Working with this yarn on the size 1 needles is just, it's not a pleasurable knitting experience, if you will. I don't know if you have it as a knitter, where you're knitting, and for certain combinations, it just flows. I think one of those for me, I really like working with fingering weight yarn on a 3.25mm needle or a US size 3 needle. I really love that combination. DK weight on a US 6 or a 4mm needle, that's lovely. There's just combinations that work. And this is just, it's a US size 1, and I knit my socks on a US size 1, but it's with DPNs, and it's just a very, very different knitting experience. And so the more that I thought about this, the less I want to work on it. The more I was just dreading it, and I was like, you know what? I know that I put a lot of work into it. I would rather frog it now than force myself to continue to work on it when I just don't want to. And I have a couple of other patterns that I think I'm going to use this yarn for. I'll go ahead and put a picture up here. I can't remember, it's something flowers. I love this pattern. I think it's so cute. I think it's going to be perfect for this. It has a looser gauge to it, which will be really nice. I love the fabric that this is coming up to, but I just do not love knitting this gauge. It is too, I don't know, it doesn't hurt my hands, but it just doesn't feel right. So I'm going to rip it out, and I'm going to make that pullover, which has these badgers and these flowers, and it's just so cute. And I'm going to do it a little bit cropped. I'll probably honestly leave off the color work that's around the hem of it. I probably just wouldn't mess with that. And yeah, I'm very excited about that. I have no idea when I'm going to cast that on. This isn't going to be a huge priority project, but I think that's what this is going to be, because I think this would be a perfect background color for that. I have some green and pink and a light tealy blue and yellow, and I have black. I have plenty of colors of 100% non-superwash wool that I can pick and choose for that, and I think it's going to be a much better fit. The gauge is significantly looser. This is supposed to be 28 stitches per 4 inches, and I think for that one it's 24 stitches, so I should be able to go up at least a couple needle sizes for that. So, which would make it like a US size 3-ish with a fingering weight, which is kind of my sweet spot. Like, I like that. It's part of why I like all of the Tulsa tea and the Solace tea that I just made. And is there another one, or is it just those two? But the patterns by Rebecca of Cray Bear, she got like 3. I think she's got 3 in that like Tulsa tea family sort of a thing, where it's just a looser gauge, and I am just a looser knitter. Like, I just knit loosely. I'm a continental knitter, and so it just makes it hard to try and like strangle my knitting while I'm trying to get the stitches smaller. So that's a much easier gauge for me to reach. But that is the plan. I am going to quickly start frogging some of these projects and try and get them picked up, and then I have my bag of yarns and project bags that I just need to like put away. And so I want to kind of work on getting this tidied up before I refill these project bags with some more really fun knitting. And I can't wait to talk more about that because I am itching to get cast on. So I better get to frogging. Kids are down for a nap. Well, the youngest one is napping. My oldest one he slept in a bit this morning, so he's not gonna nap, which is fine. My plan is that I'm gonna try and get this stuff. I'm frogging another project. Get these projects frogged, and then he'll probably get up early and we'll play some Zelda together and it'll be fine. Yeah, so I got the crochet blanket frogged, and it's a little bit more complicated than I thought it was going to be, because it's like I would pull out a whole like arm length of yarn, and because it was all double crochets, it felt like it took forever to get it frogged. But that one's done, and then I've started, this is the rosary jumper that I do still want to knit very much so, but let's go ahead and get this one frogged. And then I started frogging the garter stitch blanket, so working on that one. And then I think I'm probably gonna go ahead and frog the sundial tee next, just because it should be a pretty quick one. And then the Fosteriana cardigan is gonna take a little bit more work, and the granny square pieces or whatever, that's going to take a little bit more work. So it's so annoying doing all of this stuff when all I want to do is just knit and start the new things, but I know that if I don't keep up with it, it's just going to pile and pile and pile, and it's just going to be a whole thing. So I would rather go ahead and get it all done and ready to go, get all the yarns sorted out, all the project bags sorted out, get everything taken care of and cleaned up and tidied, so I feel like I have a proper clean slate to then feel comfortable casting on a bunch of things, which I'm very excited about. I don't know if I'm actually going to get to casting on today. That might have to be a tomorrow thing, but we shall see. For now, I'm going to sit. I think I'm going to watch a knitting video. Josie has a video out, and I might go and watch some more old Shauna Stitches videos, or older Kirsty Knits and Sews videos. I've still got a few more of those. Or I might just turn on some music and listen to some quiet music. I don't know. I feel like my brain is a little bit frazzled today because I've been spent a lot of time this morning trying to look and find like a specific type of book that I wanted to read, and I couldn't find it. So I feel like I've been staring at my phone all day, and I don't know, I feel like that makes my brain feel wonky. So I might just turn on some quiet music and do some frogging for a bit. Let my brain resettle. I feel like it's kind of been making me irritable and cranky, and I don't really like that. So I think that's probably what we'll do. Quiet music, frog some projects, think some things, think some thoughts. And then hopefully if I can get these frogged and done before it's time for people to get up from nap time, then I will show you the yarns and my thoughts on what projects I'm going to be casting on. So we'll see how much I can get done. Okay, quick little update. I got all of the projects frogged. Huzzah! I've cleaned out all of the project bags. So now I have a giant bag of yarn that needs to get put back away. I have a big old pile of needles to take care of. I have a bag of project bags and notions to put all away. Oh, it feels so good to get all this stuff cleared out. And I've just gotta get all of it put away. But yeah, I won't have time to do any more now. I've got to get my 3-year-old up from nap, and then we actually are going to a birthday party for a little baby, so we've got to leave for that pretty quickly here. So that is all I will have time to do for now. Maybe later this afternoon I'll be able to cast on some stuff, but I'm so glad to have those all frogged and sorted and emptied out, and yeah. And I'm getting rid of some yarn, so I'll get to have some yarn out of my stash. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Friends, welcome back. It is now late Sunday afternoon, and We are enjoying some glorious spring weather. I was a little bit worried that here in Kentucky where I live, it had already transitioned fully to like summer weather. It was getting quite warm, up in the low 80s. And then we had a cold front blow in. And so like this morning, it was in the 30s. It warmed up quite quickly. So today it's been mid 60s maybe. But it has been gorgeous. So beautiful. I got to wear my sweater again, which I was pretty convinced I was done with sweaters for this season, but no, I got to have another time, so I'm very pleased about that. I'm here to chat about some of the yarn that I wound up. I'm a little out of it. We went to church this morning. We had a pretty cozy afternoon. I was answering some emails over nap time. And so I'm just trying to get this done. I was printing out patterns and getting things ready for casting on some things. And I have some thoughts. I have some things to talk about. So I've got a pile of yarn cakes over here. First off, I am going to be knitting the I'm pretty sure it's Cloudbreak. I keep wanting to go like Cloudborn, but I think that's like a yarn brand, but I keep wanting to say that. It is the Cloudbreak Tee, or just Cloudbreak by Wool and Pine Designs. I love how that pattern looks. I love it so much, and I am so excited. And it was so funny because I went to print out the pattern. It was like 2 pages. It's a very, very simple construction for a sweater, apparently. So really looking forward to that. I am planning to knit it out of this Barocco Splash, which is a beautiful blue with pops of other colors in it. I think that it will be solid enough to let the I thought somebody was walking by on the road and might have the window open, so that would be awkward. I think it is solid enough to let the overall pattern, and there's a panel of lace at the bottom of the tee, to let that lace still shine and be lacy, but it'll be fun for the rest of the sweater, which is just plain. So I wound up 4 of these. I think I'm going to need about 6. They're 50 gram skeins, so I think I'll probably need around 6 of them, but I just started with 4 because I don't know. I don't always wind up all the yarn. I'll often start with winding up like a couple skeins, and then I'll wind up more as I need it. But there's that. I am so excited for this one. Like the second that pattern came out, I knew that that was going to be something that I would knit. Like it was one of those where I was like, yeah, this is happening. And then I found this yarn on sale, and it was a special yarn that I got, and I knew it was going to be a match made in heaven. And right now my plan is to make it with short sleeves. I'm going to try it and see. This is a blend of like cotton and viscose, I think. Or maybe it's mostly viscose. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a blend, a cotton blend. And so I'm going to see if it's something that I can wear during summertime, or if I should just go ahead and add long sleeves to it for like a transitional fall spring sort of piece. There's that. Then I have these 3, which this is probably going to be a little bit tricky to get color accurate. It looks like it's blowing out a bit, but this is a lace weight 100% cotton. I think it's technically a weaving cotton. I got this at the Smoky Mountain Spinnery in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and it comes in a cone and it has like 1,600 yards or something in it, and I am planning to hold it double to get a fingering weight. And for this one, I am planning to make the Sofferine, I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a top by Audrey Borrego, and you can do it either with like short sleeves or as a tank top. I think I'm going to try and I think I have ample yardage to make the tank top. I think I'll have a little bit left over. So I think I'm planning to do short sleeves. And since this is a 100% cotton and it's a fingering weight, I'm very hopeful that this will end up being cool enough that I could wear, not on like the sweltering hot summer days, but in the warmer summery weather. So again, very excited about this one. It's in 3 balls because as I was winding on my ball winder, I was doing this one first and it like jumped off the ball winder. I think I was going too fast and it just slid off. So then I did this one, and then this one popped off, and so then I had this one. It's fine. It was a lot of yarn because it's yeah, it's like 1,600 and maybe a bit. I don't remember exactly, but like 1,600 yards. So I'm very happy about this one. I'm hoping that it would be a nice, basic, simple summer t-shirt. And then we get to the part where I am like pretty convinced on one of these projects. I'm like 90% sure on that one. And then on the other one, I'm not sure. I thought I had like a plan all in place, but I wasn't sure. Kirsty, from Kirsty Knits and Sews, I've already mentioned her in this video, has talked about that she's planning to knit the Tegna by Caitlin Hunter. It is a beautiful like t-shirt pattern that has this lovely lace down at the bottom. I have gone back and forth on knitting this pattern for literally years. It has been so long, and I cast it on at one point and got through the entire lace section at the bottom and just didn't love the yarn that I had picked. And it was right, I had cast it on shortly before my first baby was born, and I was just like, never mind. So I ended up frogging it. But that pattern has stuck in my brain like nobody's business. It is crazy. It just sits there and I think about it and I'm like, And then I see other people's beautiful versions of it. This is a podcast that's no longer active, but Katie from Inside Number 23, she used to have a podcast that I absolutely love. She was one of the first podcasts I ever watched, and it was one of my favorites. And I'm really sad that she's not podcasting anymore and hasn't been for several years. But she had a gorgeous green version of the Tegna, which was just, oh, it looks so good. It was stunning. And then Holly from Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. has actually, and the Mystery Mouse Yarn podcast, I think she has two versions. I think she has a green one and a red one. And it looks amazing. It looks so good. And both these ladies have done it as a slightly more fitted. In the pattern, I think it's supposed to be very oversized, and I've seen some quite oversized versions of it and did not love it. But then I've seen the ones that are a little bit more fitted, like they're a little more fitted over the bust, and then it's like the lace is like a little bit flowy, and it's so beautiful. So Kirsty mentioned she's going to be casting that on out of this lovely like tealy minty blue color. It is going to look amazing. And I was like, okay, this needs to happen. I need to knit it. I need to knit it at least once. And if I hate it, I can rip it out. Like, that's the beauty of knitting. You can just take it out. So I had bought some yarn from Devon of Knitting with Pearly in her extras and a regular sale. So it was a blind bag. Blind buy. It was just mystery skeins, what you were going to get. And so I got 2 skeins of this beautiful, beautiful, variegated, speckledy pink yarn. And I was like, ooh, that could be perfect. I could totally make a Tegna in that. However, I went to wind them up. And I think you can see it. Maybe not as obvious as it is in person. This skein here is significantly lighter than this skein. Like, it is very... yeah, it is very obviously different. They're supposed to be both the same color, or the same colorway, but as with hand-dyed yarn, you get some variance. So there was that. And then I realized that the yardage on these is actually, it's only like 415 yards per 100 grams, so it's quite a bit less than a normal fingering weight skein of yarn, which meant that there wouldn't be quite enough yardage for what I would need for the Tegna. So I think this is going to have to go on the back burner, which I'm kind of bummed about because I was like, that would be such a cute top. But that's going to have to go on the back burner, and I think I'm going to go back to my original plan when I was a couple years ago. Is it 2 years ago now already? It might be. Oh, goodness. I did a sample knit for Emily of Night Bright Yarn Co. And in exchange, I was able to get some yarn, which was just so, so lovely. And I got 2 skeins of this. I can't remember the name of it. It's a rose name, but it is this beautiful, like, almost bubblegum pink. It's like a paler bubblegum pink. And I just fell in love with this color. I sample knit the Stella quilt cushion for her. And when I was knitting it, this was one of the colors I used in it, and I would just fell in love with it. And I was like, wouldn't that be gorgeous as a Tegna top with the lace on the bottom? Like, oh, it would be so beautiful. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go back and have a pink Tegna. The other option that I had originally thought of was that I could hold these double and make a Cloudbreak tee out of this, because I have 2 skeins of this pink one. So I was like, well, I could do that. I could hold them double and do that, but I think I am going to do 2 separate things. I'm going to do the Tegna with this one and figure out something with this one. I was thinking possibly that what I could do is I could knit the cardigan version of the Solace tee, which is what I'm wearing, and this pattern is now live. It was released a couple days ago, so it is available. If you want it, you can go and get it. It has so many different variations in it. It has both fingering weight and DK weight gauges, and it includes a Henley top, a crew neck, and then a full cardigan, like a fully open cardigan. So I was like, wouldn't it be cute to do a little like short sleeve cardigan version with this? And I know that I can get at least this long of sleeves out of just 2 skeins of yarn. Or is it there? Or is it a little bit earlier? I know I can get a short sleeved cardigan out of 2 skeins of yarn. But I'm still, what I could technically do then is I could kind of, I really don't want to do any sort of like helical or like alternating skeins knitting. I did some of that for this one and I just didn't like it. It's just not fun. It ruins my knitting flow and I just don't like it. So I had the thought that what I could do is I could start with this one and then once I'm getting close to being done with this first skein, fade into the second skein so that it would kind of be like a faded cardigan. I'm still toying with that idea. I'm not 100% sure. The other option that I had thought of is that I could just take these and hold 1 strand from each ball and make it a DK weight and then use it in another project for something else. So I decided that this yarn is going to kind of go on the back burner for right now. I have 3 others that I'm getting ready to cast on, so there's no rush for this one. But isn't this beautiful? I do really love this. It's got all the speckles in it. I'm a little disappointed that it won't work for the Tegna. Like, it's just beautiful. So those are my current plans. I'm not going to have time to cast on, I don't think, any of these today. Maybe I will, I'm not sure. But I'm getting the patterns printed and everything sorted and ready to go. And I'm very excited about it. I'm so excited. But I'm going to go ahead and stop talking about it here. I will come back and do another little snippet. I think I'll probably try and cast them on and then do like a little wrap up of the video showing the cast ons for all 3 of them. And then that'll finish out this vlog. But for now, I think I am going to pick up the house a little bit. It's a little bit of a mess. And then probably go and sit outside and do some knitting. I've been working on my pressed flowers cowl that I'm knitting on, and it is so perfect because it's got the flowers on it and it's like May and it's springtime and it's just delightful, and I'm quite close to getting that project done. I'm finishing so many like languishing whips and it feels so good. It feels so nice. I'm going to have so much to talk about on my next podcast, but I'm going to stop chatting. I will be back when I have more to report on. Okay friends, I have a little bit of an update on these projects that I'm going to be casting on. I have added another project. And this one is going to be a little bit of, it's more of an experiment project. So we'll see if I actually end up completely finishing it or if I work part of it and then frog it. I have recently found the YouTube channel called Crochet Cakes. Clarissa, I have seen her blog many times. I just never realized that she had a YouTube channel until like last week. And I've been catching up on a bunch of her different videos. I really love her content. She's just so bubbly and fun, and yeah, I've really been enjoying it. And she talks all about crocheting, and I have been wanting to make a crocheted garment for 3 or 4 years now. When shortly after we had, what was about a month after my first baby was born, we had a wedding in Wisconsin. Looking back, I'm like, we were insane to be taking a month-old baby on a like 10-hour plus drive. It was a whole thing. My husband was in the wedding, so that was why we ended up going. But while we were in Wisconsin, there was a yarn store that we stopped at. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head anymore, but we stopped there because I wanted to get some like special yarn for the trip. And the lady that was working in there had this gorgeous sweater on, and it was a crocheted top, and it's like it had a bee on it. It's a pattern by Haley Bailey, or made by Haley Bailey. I have had that pattern saved for so long because I absolutely fell in love with that sweater, and I thought it was just gorgeous. I've not made it. It does feel a little bit more complicated than I think that my crochet skills are capable of at the moment, but I have saved some of Haley Bailey's other patterns, and they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. She has them available, I think, on both Ravelry and Etsy. I can't remember for sure. I don't remember if her Ravelry page is just linked to Etsy or to her own website. I don't remember. She has some gorgeous patterns. So ever since then, I've been wanting to do a crocheted garment, and I think that now is finally the time. Now that I found Clarissa and her Crochet Cakes YouTube channel, she has a number of different tutorials on how to make crocheted garments, and she has free patterns and paid for patterns. She's got a lot of stuff. It's amazing. She has, it's called the Granny No. 7 top, and it's this super cute V-neck sweater. It's a free pattern, but it's only a one size pattern for like a 37-inch bust, so that's that, which is totally fine for a free pattern. I'm not going to complain about that. But it is crocheted in a DK weight yarn, and so I had the thought that I could probably crochet it in a worsted weight yarn and get it close enough to my bust measurements, because it's a top-down raglan, and so technically if I needed a little bit more, I could probably just work a couple extra increase rounds. I can fudge it. This is why I say this might end up being frog, because I don't want to gauge swatch. I just want to start it and get going and see what happens. And because it's top down and raglan, and I'm familiar with that construction for knitting, I think I can make it work for crocheting. And I'm also going to be doing it in a worsted weight yarn. So hopefully, I think my bust measurement right now is around 41 inches. It's somewhere around there for my full bust measurement. 40, 41, somewhere in there. And so that's about 3 inches more than what the pattern is for. So if I get it a little bit bigger, I don't mind if it has negative ease over the bust. I actually prefer to have negative ease over the bust because then it fits better up here. So I have a couple of different yarns in my stash. I have this Knit Picks Dishy in the Fiesta or something colorway. I've had this in my stash for so long. It's been ages. 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. And I just haven't known what to do with it because I thought it was too beautiful to make into dishcloths, because I don't really use homemade knitted or crocheted dishcloths. We kind of do. I have a little basket of smaller square ones that we keep in the bathroom, and we use those for the boys when we're bathing them and stuff, and they love to play with them. But on a day-to-day, in the kitchen and stuff, I just don't really use them, and I don't know if that's just because I'm just used to non-hand knitted ones, or because I don't have some, so if I made some and had some in the kitchen, would I use them? I don't know. But either way, I thought that this colorway was just too pretty to just make dishcloths out of. So I've had it saved, and I had experimented with making a couple of different things with it, and just never stuck. Well, this Granny No. 7 top is a 2-color top. It's got a main color and then a contrast color. And I had the thought, wouldn't these be beautiful together? With this one as a contrast color and this is the main color. This is only a partial skein. This is I Love This Cotton from Hobby Lobby in the deep teal colorway. And this is another reason. I have a partial skein of this. I bought this in 2024, before my second boy was born, my second baby. And I was using it in a crochet blanket that I was making for him. And so I have most of a skein here. The pattern calls for 300 grams of DK weight yarn, 200 in the main color, 100 in the contrast color. So I have a little bit less than 100 grams of this color and about 100 grams of this color, if I remember correctly. So my thinking is I'm just going to start it, and I'm going to kind of crochet a bit and see what I think of the process, see how it goes. Clarissa has a whole video series on how to make this top. Super well laid out from the bit that I've seen so far, and I am just itching to cast on. So I'm going to start it, I'm going to experiment and see how it's looking and how it's going. Go as much as I can with this yarn. I'm not positive whether or not Hobby Lobby still has this color, but my thinking is that because it's already like a 2-color sweater, worst case scenario, if I have to switch it, what I would probably try and do is then do like a couple stripes of other main colors in blues or teals, and just kind of mix it up and keep this the consistent one all the way throughout. We'll see. We're going to play with it. I just want to play with it and have fun with it, and this is really, really exciting me. So I think I'm going to try and get this one cast on today, and we're going to see what happens. Hello friends, it's another day. It is Wednesday now. We had quite the day yesterday. We had some our dentist appointments for our cleanings, but then I also had I've got bad teeth genetics, and so I had to get a crown redone, and then at some point, so I've got a temporary crown, and at some point I'll have to go back in and get the regular one, and I've got a couple other small cavities that they'll have to do. But we were gone like all morning yesterday into the afternoon, and it just throws my day off. I have been working away. I have officially cast on my Cloudbreak tee. I hope that's right. I keep wanting to call it Cloudborn, and I know it's not Cloudborn. Pretty sure it's Cloudbreak. And I've also been working on a crocheted garment. It's the Granny Raglan. I'm so tired. Weaning and night training a baby it's a whole thing. I have the Granny Raglan number 7. Something like that I am working on. I'll show you those later. Right now I'm getting ready to cast on my Tegna, whatever you want to call it, out of this gorgeous Night Bright Yarn Co. And this is a pattern that I've had printed out for like 4 years. 3 years, whatever it is. Try not to show you too much pattern. But that top. And I'm going to cast on. Sorry, you can probably hear the helicopter or airplane or whatever it is that's going by. Whew, okay, it's quieting down. Oh, so tired. Anyway, with this one I need to cast on 300 plus stitches. Is that the size I'm actually doing? 1, 2, 3. Yes. I'm going to be going with the 3rd size, which is a medium, and it has it's 43.25 inches at the bust. I think that's going to be plenty big enough. I wish there was a size in between the small and the medium, because the small is a 38-inch bust, and that would be, well, no, I think it would have too much negative ease. I don't know. This is a tricky part with the Tegna because it's supposed to be super like oversized and whatnot, and that just looks terrible on me. That just it's not a good look. And so I know that I don't want to do that. My bust is around 41, so if I do the medium, that's going to be more than 2 inches of positive ease. However, I know that the gauge called for is 22 stitches for 4 inches, and I am planning to use a US size 3 or 3.25 millimeter needle, and that is the one that I use when I knit like the Tosta or the Solacity that I just knit for Rebecca of Créa Bear. I use a US size 3 to get around 24 stitches per 4 inches, and so I'm planning to just go with that. And maybe that will get me an in-between size. So, because I think to get like the 22 stitches per 4 inches, I'd probably have to do a 4. or 3.5 millimeter. And I think that'd just be too loose. So, a couple of things, a couple of tricks or tips. I am going to be using 2 needles. I'm going to do the long tail cast on and hold 2 needles double because I have to cast on so many stitches. I'm just going to be using 2 circulars. Technically one is a US 2 and one is a US 3, but I just don't have 2 US 3s handy, so this would be close enough. And that is a tip that I mainly heard from Kirsty of Kirsty Knits and Sews. She mentioned that in one of her videos, and I've been doing it ever since, and it is magical. It is amazing. It looks a little bit sloppy when you first do it, but then it just works, and it's great. It gives you so much extra like stretch, and it's perfect. And then the other trick that I'm going to be doing is I am going to be using my cake, and I'm going to be using 1 strand of yarn from the center and 1 strand of yarn from the outside, and that way I don't have to try and grab like a crazy long tail to do the long tail cast on. I'm just going to make a slip knot with both the tails, and then I can stick my 2 needles inside my loop, and then like so, and I'm ready to go. And I'm going to cast on a lot of stitches. And I will be back when I finish doing that. Friends, I am here to film the outro for this tea knit along cast on video. I did realize yesterday that I actually didn't cast on one of the projects that I had said that I was going to be casting on for this knit along. That is the Sofarine. It's like Sophie with like an O-R-I-N-E. So I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's like the tank or cap sleeve top that I am planning to knit out of some cotton. I still want to do that one, but I got completely sidetracked with my other projects. So let's go ahead and quickly show you where I got with the 3 projects that I worked on. So we'll start with this one because it has the least amount of work and was the last one that I cast on. This is my Tegna. You can hardly tell anything of what is happening because, oh dear, don't lose stitches. I haven't even worked a complete pattern row. I think I'm like maybe halfway through it, but that's my Tegna. It is coming along and it's so beautiful. I have it with a bunch of these stitch markers that I made. They're like the snag-free stitch markers, and then this is a progress keeper or stitch marker that I made, which I really love. So it's a very pretty and springy project, but I have just been so completely distracted by my other projects. But I'm glad to have gotten it cast on and started, and hopefully this time we will end up with a finished Tegna rather than it being frogged. The next one was my surprise cast on. And this one, I'm very, very close to not being able to work on it until next week because I am almost out of my main color of yarn and I need to go to Hobby Lobby and get some more. So this is the Granny number 7 top by Clarissa. It's like Clarissa Beth something Rodriguez, I think. And she has the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel. A delightful woman. I think she would be a very, very fun person to chat with and know in real life. But this is where we have gotten to with this. This has been like the only thing I've wanted to work on. Hence the amount of progress that we have on here. So that is what it is looking like. I just joined in the round last night, and realistically I need, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 more pattern repeats in order to get it to a point that it can connect under the arm. So loving this, but I need to go to Hobby Lobby, as I said, and get some more of this. I don't think this is even enough to complete one more round, and I just finished a main color round, and so now it's time to do a contrast color round with my Knit Picks Dishy, and then I'm going to do as much as I possibly can with this, and then it will have to wait until Monday when I can go to Hobby Lobby and it is yarn sale week. But absolutely loving this project. So enjoying it. It is intriguing and a whole new like garment making experience, and I'm wondering if this is going to be the trick to being able to make myself cotton garments, because crochet is so much holier than knitting, at least some crochet, not all crochet, but this is much airier, breezier, whatever you want to call it, than like typical knitting. I wonder if this is going to be the way that I will be able to make tops and shirts and things, because depending on how this one goes, I'm already dreaming up doing some more. I think it would be so fun. There's a colorway of I Love This Cotton yarn at Hobby Lobby that's like pinks and blues and yellows, and it's like a deep rich color, kind of like the teal, but it's like a multicolor. And I was like, oh, what if I use that as the main color, and then like a solid blue or navy or something that would really contrast as the contrast color. Oh. So we're finishing one top first, and we're gonna see how it goes, but I am pretty certain that there are going to be more of these tops in my future, and I am so excited about it. It has just been so much fun. I can't express how much fun this has been. It's the only thing I've wanted to work on. It has been bringing me so much crafting joy, which I am all about. So that is my second project that I started for this tea knit along. And then the final project is the Cloudbreak tee by Wool & Pine Designs, and they just came out today. They released the, I think it's the Alchemist tee pattern, which is a gorgeous v-neck sweater pattern, and I'm pretty positive I'm gonna purchase it and make that, and I'm really excited about it. But I made a fair amount of progress on this one as well, and it's hard to see it right now because it's on a small circumference of needle and I'm just knitting away with it. It is such an interesting knitting experience knitting with this yarn. This is the Barocco Splash, and it is, I don't have one of the tags in here, but it's like a viscose and maybe cotton blend, but it's like mostly rayon viscose. It is such an interesting fabric. Like, I can already tell that it's very drapey and it doesn't have too much structure. I'm really hoping I like it. So far I am not hating the knitting experience, which I'm very glad of. I wasn't sure how I was going to like knitting it. Purling it wasn't my favorite because for the first section of this tee you have to work flat, and the purling was not my favorite. But the thing that I have found with both this project and my Granny No. 7 top is that I've almost been intentionally slowing down a little bit and just really kind of focusing on what I'm doing, and I think that that has added to the enjoyment of the project, that I haven't been acting like I'm like racing or anything. And so I don't know, it's just been really enjoyable, and I am loving the pops of color here. Again, this one has been really enjoyable. It was the only thing I wanted to work on for a couple of days, and I wanted to get it joined in the round, and I've gotten to that point. It's so fun. I really, really want to go and order some more of this Baroque Splash just because it's on such a good clearance price at Knit Picks, and I might order some more, but yeah, I'm really, really loving it. So those are the 3 projects that I have started. I think I'm going to focus on them for just now, and then hopefully I will cast on the Sofarine, whatever, top maybe in June. I'm not sure. I'm going to see how much progress I get done with these, because I have a feeling if I get my Granny number 7 top done, then I'm going to want to immediately go and get some yarn and make another version. So we'll see. We might have to put the Sofarine for later in the summer, but yeah. Those are the projects that I have been working on. I hope that you have enjoyed this little vlog and following along with the beginnings of these different tops. And yeah, I would love to know if you are working on any sort of summer knitting, summer garments, socks, anything. Kayla Litton of the Crazy Sock Lady announced that she's doing a summer sock camp again this year, and I have never participated in that before, but I have heard Kirsty from Kirsty Knits and Sews, I have heard her talk about it a good amount, and I have definitely been feeling the itch to work on some socks again, which it makes sense because last winter so many of my socks got holes in them, and it makes me feel a little bit bad to say, but I'm not really somebody that wants to mess with darning them. I personally find it very, very irritating if there's stuff on the bottom of my feet. I have realized that that is one of my sensory irritants that really bugs me, so I don't think darning a sock would be a successful endeavor. So I've actually just been kind of saving all of my socks. When I notice there's a hole enough that I can't wear them, I wash them, and then I've been saving them in a pile, and I'm going to use them for stuffing for something. I don't know what, but for something. But I've been feeling the itch to knit some socks, so stay tuned for that, because I think I'm going to do a summer sock camp planning video and talk about the yarns that I would like to work on and my hopes and aspirations for summer sock camp and all of that. So I would love to know if you have socks that you want to knit and patterns and summer tops and all the things. I would love to know. But for now, I'm going to chill, do some video editing, and work a little bit more on some of these projects. So I hope you are having a wonderful day, doing well, and enjoying and loving your crafting. And I will see you on the next one. Bye!